One, two, one, two, one, two. What's going on? It's your boy Jason Mass. Jason Mass playing music. About to get off into another LP review. This time we're gonna go with Marvin Gaye, "I Want You," 1976. Yeah, where do we even start with Marvin Gaye, "I Want You"? That was his 14th LP. Production by Leon Ware. Extremely high end, highbrow, musically sophisticated soul music. Marvin, the word that comes to mind when I think about Marvin Gaye, you know, 70s era Marvin Gaye up until his death in 84, that era Marvin, it's that dichotomy, the sacred and the profane, singing about God and sex, in equal measure, A lot of soul singers, kind of dealt with that, being raised in the church, then coming of age, and then, dealing with issues of their sexuality and those things, kind of wrestling with their spirituality. So Marvin he's in a long line of a lot of soul singers that kind of dealt with those issues. The ones that's coming to mind right now is like Sam Cooke, Bobby Womack's another one, Prince. Marvin, to me, he epitomized that more so to me than the other acts I just named. But he's in that tradition of that battle between those two polar opposites, those extremes, and that was often channeled through his singing, through his vocals. But yeah, he could sound both. Marvin could sound tortured and calming simultaneously at the same time. And I would have to say that the "I Want You" LP, that's my favorite Marvin album. It's one of the sexiest albums ever made, in my opinion. Definitely one of the most sensual, sexy records ever committed to tape. Marvin also kind of epitomized black male sexuality through his vocals, through his vocalization and the vocal gymnastics that he would do. He was channeling love, lust, and desire. Through every word, every breath that he would, put down over just perfect, orchestration, perfect music. Again, handled by the great Leon Ware. Yeah, it's to me in soul music there's these two towers. There's Marvin and there's Stevie. Those are the big two. I don't think soul music, honestly, there's a lot of soul that reaches those heights, that attempts to reach those heights and almost hit those heights, but nothing ever surpasses those in terms of R&B and soul music. Those two artists, that's those are the big two right there. Incredible mixing and vocal arrangement and vocal tracking throughout this record. I mean, Marvin Gaye, what he did in terms of his sense of melodies and vocal arrangements is just unparalleled. It's one of the greatest things ever. He's one of the all-time great vocalists. Marvin is somebody that strikes me like it would be very hard to cover him, to try and remake a Marvin Gaye piece because his work is so singular, But the "I Want You" LP, it's this weird quality about how it's a very peculiarly sequenced record. It's a lot of interludes and things go in and out. Same piece of music appearing multiple times on the record. And the record's 11 tracks long, but let's get off into it track by track. I Want You, Marvin Gaye. First track, the vocal version of I Want You, the title track. Perfect blend of groove and orchestration. You know, possibly one of my favorite Marvin Gaye songs. I mean, it's hard to pick a favorite Marvin Gaye song, but that's probably definitely one of my favorites. Those screams towards the end of the track, it sounds as if he's so consumed and tortured, by his desires. He just had to just let it out. That scream, you could tell you can't fake that. He meant that. He meant everything he was saying. And right before that scream, if you listen, listen closely, sounds like he's almost like talking to himself, like he's trying to attempt to calm himself down, from his lust and his desires, and then it just consumes it and just overwhelms him, and it just takes him over, and he just lets it out, and that scream it's like an orgasmic kind of scream, It's listen to it again, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, but if you're a Marvin Gaye head, you know what I'm talking about, or you should know what I'm talking about. What else can I say about that track? It's like he's pleading, pleading for this woman, just for her to, I want you to want me, the right way, just like I want you. He means that shit. He's not, that's not no put on. He really means it. Perfect track, 10 out of 10. Then the next track is Come Live With Me, Angel, another 10 out of 10 track. It's very kind of breezy, light guitar back track. It's just very perfect, another perfect track. Just breezy, and Marvin just glides over it vocally, just carries the tune to places that another singer just simply can't do. Marvin is good at doing things that other vocalists just simply can't do. Again, very singular as a vocalist. 10 out of 10. Next track was After the Dance, instrumental. For me, this is a 9 out of 10. It's basically just, perfect orchestration and, musical arrangement. But this version just has a little bit of added synthesizer riffing, as it added to the backing track of, After the Dance. See, this is what I was talking about when I was talking about the how peculiar the sequencing is on this record. There's there's that. So that was 9 out of 10 for me. Then it goes into Feel All My Love Inside. Perfect track, 10 out of 10. Sexy and erotic, but never pornographic. That's like where a lot of so-called soul and R&B is went, these days. Soul is a genre that I love the older stuff, but for me, soul kind of diminished, has had more diminishing returns since sometime in the 90s, and I blame Jodeci and R. Kelly and that, that ilk for that. But anyway, again, sexy and erotic, but never pornographic, and that part in that track, where he said, I love to hear you make those sounds, you hear the woman moaning, it's like right on that line, but he never really crosses the line into it just being like vulgar. And I always liked Marvin, loved Marvin for that. So yeah, 10 out of 10. Next track, I Want to Be Where You Are. This one was a 9 out of 10 for me. Kind of like an interlude track that was dedicated to his children. He shouted them out all over the track. 9 out of 10. Next one is the I Want You intro jam. Again, the weird sequencing rears its head here again. This one is a 9 out of 10 for me as well. Another interlude track, 2 interlude tracks like back to back. With just like it's the I Want You instrumental, but this time with just a saxophone, kind of riffing, laid up over the instrumental. 9 out of 10. And then all the way around, it's a bit more light, a little less all-consuming than the other tracks on the album in terms of the sexuality and the, and the love lust thing. This one was 9 out of 10 for me. And then we go to Since I Had You. This is a 10 out of 10. Very deep groove there. Has a kind of a slightly melancholy, tone to it. This time out, a little bit more than some of the other stuff on the record. But again, a perfect track, 10 out of 10. Then we'll go to Soon I'll Be Having You Again, another 10 out of 10. Beautiful. Sampled by Jay-Z for American Dreamin'. I actually made a track out of that too, but Jay-Z is Jay-Z, so, everybody knows the Jay-Z joint. But yeah, great track. Perfect track, 10 out of 10. And then I Want You Intro Jam 2, which was just a repeat of the 6th track, just another interlude, just recycled yet again. That weird sequencing again, Then it ends with the final track, After the Dance. Simply a perfect track. There's not a lot I can say about After the Dance. It's just cold piece there. Cold jam there. After the Dance, perfect 10 out of 10. Of the 11 tracks on this record, I would say 6 of them are perfect. And the only thing that really holds this back is that strange sequence, and it seems like that a lot of the same pieces of music kind of overlap, and it kind of, the music is so great that it doesn't diminish it much, but it's a little bit of a diminishing quality to this record for that reason. But the music is so good that I can't quite front on it. I mean, it's more a complaint about the sequencing than the actual music. So overall, Marvin Gaye, I Want You, 1976, a 9.6 out of 10. Thank you for watching. Jason Mass playing music. Like, subscribe. More joints coming. Hope all stays well with you. Peace.